Welcome to episode 2 of my origin series. This is a 1967 Volkswagen Bug. The model kit is made by Polar Lights. And as you can see, I really went ballistic on this one. This is the second hovercraft build of mine. This one has a little side story. So I had a model of a 1/24 scale VW Bug, and my wife purchased the second one for me for Christmas. So I basically had two of the same models, different manufacturers. But that gave me two kits that are nearly identical, so I could go a little crazy on them.
Hey, bud, let's party.
And if it didn't work out, then no big deal. I still had another one I could work on. So I decided to make this a single-seat rocket car. I took a third of the center of the car out and then glued it back together and created this single-seat rocket. This one has so much to talk about. One of the most interesting things is the front wings. I had originally wanted to put some kind of thrusters on the front, and as on Google, looking up hover cars for reference, I came across the speeder bikes from Empire Strikes Back. They had those little wings on the front. And so, as I was looking through my parts, I found the seats, and I thought to myself, well, those kind of look like they could be wings. So I added some wing flaps, hinges, bolts, brackets, and used the back of the seat for the large wing, and I used the front of the seat for the inside wing. See, I've added all kinds of wing flaps for, air brakes or directional control. And it's all hooked up to the original suspension. So we're just looking at the front end here. Well, this hood keeps falling off. It has a pin at the front, but nothing to hold it back. So anytime I move the car, it's wanting to fall off. So I'm just going to take that off. This intake is from a 90s Corvette, old glue bomb model I took it out of. It needed a shelf to sit on, so I created the slats and the bolts below it. Added some wire for a little more detail. I mean, detail where you can. And you'll notice the headlights are mounted to some brackets. There's no fenders to install the headlights into, so I needed to make brackets for the headlights and the fog lights. Also made a little housing for the headlight. Then check out the detail that's under what's left of the fenders. A heat exchanger or a radiator. I'll just throw in things you almost don't see. And check this out, the suspension's still turned. Everything's still hooked up. And the hose is kind of retracted back into place. As much as I love this car, I really wish I could have drawn the thrusters in a little closer. They stick out just a little too far. These thrusters were difficult to make. That's a styrene tube, but it's been cut in half lengthwise. Then I installed a styrene strip to give it a oblong shape. And there's an intake inside there. That is styrene tube, styrene strip, See this louvered window? That came out of a 71 Hemi Cuda. I did it just like I did the body of the car. Removed about a third out of the center. Hinged it with styrene rod. I rounded the corners to fit the window of the bug. And it still works. Still lifts up. So if you look inside there, you'll see 2 intakes that go down to the turbines. Air feeds through the 2 side intakes down into the 2 top intakes, which are 1971 Camaro grille. I put these sheet metal panels on the fenders. I needed something to mount the taillights into. The taillights are scratch built. So all these thrusters are made from styrene tube. I grabbed the large diameter styrene tube. I placed one inside of another. I use wheel rims at times. In fact, these the two on the inside here with all the bolt patterns, those came from a Ford Raptor. And the hinges still work. That was the hinge. I'll need to glue that hose back on. I've sealed the door on this side since it is a single seat vehicle. Handmade the side mirrors. And there's your fuel filler. And one thing you'll notice about many of my early cars is a lot of them have visors. So there's these thrusters in the back, and I know it's a wild design. They need air, so I figured they'd get air through these side intakes. Remember the old Baja bugs? They had ducting and intakes sometimes through the back windows. Well, that's where I got the idea. These were really difficult to make, but they came out really nice. One of my favorite parts of the build. And here's the bottom, the undercarriage. I did not do a lot of work on the undercarriage of this one. I added some styrene tube or styrene rod bent with a heat gun, and I added some heat shrink tube. And then there's a center console on the inside. You can't see it, but here's what it looks like. This is an old photo. Get center console there. All right, let's talk about the weathering. If you've seen the first build I did, the jet rod with the 1937 Chevy, I used the chipping technique, and I went a little too far then. So on this build, I used the sanding technique. The entire vehicle was primered in a rust color. And then my second coat was white, same white that is on the door. And then my third coat was the light blue. And then I took a fine sandpaper and wet sanded down through the paint until I reached the rust area. And I only did this on the parts that would receive the most wear. And since the driver enters this door, you would think his hand would touch the top of that roof there the most. So you have to think about things like that when you're weathering. I came in later with a paintbrush and hit all these areas, added some holes so the rust looks like it's rotting through the metal. Really happy with the job I did on it, this being my second real attempt at rusting or weathering. I did a light wash of rust on it with the streaks, and I love where the orange bleeds onto the white. I did a lot of things to this one that I didn't think could be done, including cutting the center of the vehicle out, but it turned out great. One of my favorite. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you want to see the next video in the series, click the link above. Thanks for watching.
Okay, let's go.